What's up, YouTube? My name is Jason, and this is my take. And I'm back with another video, and today we're gonna add to the segment from worst to first. And if you're new here in these videos, I go through an artist or group's discography and rank it from worst to first. And today, I thought, why not do our first group? And in this one, we're gonna do the boy band, the electrifying BROCKHAMPTON. Now, BROCKHAMPTON is a group. They all originated in Texas, mainly in Houston. They met online through this Kanye site or blog site, and they formed a group and moved out to Cali, and the rest is history. This group, man, when I stumbled upon their music right when they started their Saturation series, where they released 3 albums in 1 year, and I became a fan because their music was all over the place, but it was like, it hit on so many different levels. A lot of great singers, rappers, and they just dropped what was supposed to be their last project as a group, but then they announced that they're doing another project. So these guys are great. If you guys haven't even heard of this group, check them out. They offer a lot, and we're about to roll through it. We gotta discuss these albums. And let's start off with number 6, what I feel is technically their worst album, and that is Iridescence. Now listen, I don't think that BROCKHAMPTON even has a bad album, but this is just the one that has to be in last, to be honest. This is a pretty significant album, as it's the first album that the group released post the Amir Van controversy. Amir Van was once a member in the group, one of the standout rappers in the group, but following some incidents of emotional as well as physical abuse, he was removed from the group, and it definitely was a very significant moment. It was a very surprising moment, and the group decided to forge forward, and they released Iridescence. And honestly, why I put this album in last is because while I think it's a good album, I found myself returning to this one the least of all of the others, and it honestly just didn't consistently hit. I think that the second half of this album was amazing, but the first 7 or 8 tracks just were pretty hit or miss, in my opinion. And I did wonder if it was just, kind of rebuilding and putting everything together with Amir being gone, who was a very, very essential piece to the group and their sound. Man, they had tracks, though, that are still very memorable, and songs that I come back to a lot, being like Joe Vert, Honey, Vivid, as well as Tanya. But this wasn't the last project that the group had as, being without Amir. So things for sure ramped up, got a lot better, but this is still a dope album. All right, so coming in at number 5 on the list, we have Saturation 3. Now, this was the final piece of the Saturation trilogy that was in 2017. They dropped this right at the end of the year in December. And I still remember because I was in New York at the time. Honestly, this is of course my least favorite of the Saturation trilogy, but still a great record. It stuck out compared to the first 2. I think the first 2 Saturations are just on such a high level, and we'll get to where they are in the rankings, but this third one just didn't feel like it matched those 2. It was pretty evident to me. And some things did stick out to me more on this project. Now, Amir is in the group at this time, but his flow really stuck out to me, that typical Amir one-dimensional flow. It seemed like it was on so many songs on this one that it really stuck out to me, and it didn't bother me, but it kind of was weird for me. But other than that, they had the same varied production and sound with everybody in the group, from Kevin to Joba, Amir, Dom, all these guys, because there are 50 million of them in the group. They all still were doing their thing on here. You got songs like Boogie, Johnny, Bleach is one of my favorites, as well as Sister Nation. This was a very great way to end off this trilogy and move on to bigger and better. Next on the list is Ginger. This was dropped in 2019 after Iridescence. This is their second album post Amir. And when it comes to all the albums in their catalog, this definitely is the one that sticks out the most to me, mainly because there were so many more emotional cuts on here and the tone of the album wasn't as high energy like the other ones are. This group makes very high energy music. I had the pleasure of seeing them at Coachella and like being familiar with their music and just seeing their performances. Like um, the songs that they performed on Ginger was when the crowd wasn't moving as much and it was more, just like swaying and phones in the air type of music. But still, what a great record, a very much more mature record from the group. Dearly Departed being one of the biggest standouts, and the guys all just kind of releasing out how they feel about what happened with Amir and being hurt. Dom feeling betrayed. You could tell it was a lot for these guys to talk about. I don't know all the songs that would be on my list for favorite like Brockhampton songs, but Sugar is like easily top 5 without question. An amazing song, Bareface on there and his singing, it was perfect. Other tracks like Boy Bye and St. Percy are also like big standouts for me and some of my favorites. All right, next on the list is Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine at number 3. And this is actually Brockhampton's latest album. And like I said, it was supposed to be their last album as a group before they venture out into doing more solo things, but I guess it's not their final album. And this is probably Brockhampton's like most accessible project. Like this had more of a mainstream feel to it, and I actually enjoyed that. I actually enjoyed hearing that. There was a JPEG Mafia feature. Charlie Wilson was on here. I didn't see that coming. Also didn't see ASAP Rocky and Ferg being on here as well. Like this got back to what I was kind of used to at Brockhampton. Also, Danny Brown was on there. Coming off of Ginger, this felt more like what I was used to from Brockhampton, but an amazing sounding record. The quality was just at an all-time high. Everybody doing what they usually do. Merlin has some very memorable moments. Joba, who is my favorite member of the group, laid it all out and discussing some very serious topics like suicide and how it affected him with a specific family member. They also talk about shootings and, especially being in a time where there's a lot of mass shootings and racially charged events, like hearing them talk about that was also very interesting. And so honestly, like it was good to hear the boys back post Ginger and knowing it was their last album. I thought that it was a great way to go out, but let's see if they go out even better on the next release. So it's obvious that the first 2 saturations are these last 2 spots, but at number 2, I'm gonna go with the first saturation. This thing blew me away, and my mind just was everywhere as I just let this album play because I truly could not understand how what was going on here. Because you start off with Heat, which is just like a aggressively like dirty, like bassy track, more rock influenced, and then you go and you you turn around and you got Gold, I think is the next track, which is the complete opposite type of sound. And that is like the tale of this saturation series, just a lot of variation, a lot of different sounds, and just saturating us with so many different things, but they're all just amazing songs. We get the feel of each vocalist and kind of what they bring. We see that Amir is the more, laid back, calm rapper, but, talks more about like violence in the streets and where he came from. Dom is very much the lyricist of the group and how he puts words together. Merlin being, the very energetic, like person in the group who is just bouncing around, like he's just everywhere. Joba and just how varied he is from singing to rapping. And then you got Kevin, who is very open about his sexuality, and it caught me off guard when I first heard it, just because I had never heard somebody be so open about it like he is, and to deliver it with his bars and his singing like he did. It was just so much to take in. but it was absolutely amazing. I think Face is probably my favorite song, and it's probably, I think it's the reason why Joba is like my favorite member of the group, just how he delivered on that song and everybody's contribution, because they can be on very energetic tracks, but when it's time to be serious and really reflect on life and different things, they all can come through with amazing verses, amazing vocal performances as well. And so that obviously means that at number one, in my opinion, Brockhampton's best album is Saturation 2. Honestly, I just think that Saturation 2 is just the first Saturation on steroids. It is literally the same sound, the same flow of everything, but just beefed up, and I don't know how that's even possible. Honestly, after I heard the first Saturation, I was like, I'm probably gonna like anything this group puts out after that, but how do you even top this? And that's how. Seriously, listen to this album. So many tracks that are so memorable. Sweet, Jello, Queer, Tokyo, Junkie. It could be said to be their best track ever. That's one of the ones. That beat is so haunting. The music video is funnier and creepy, man. Like I can't even talk. And I think that everybody, like all the members, like had their moment on this record. Like they all shined and had their moment, and it really just made me appreciate this collection of people. Like it's so many of them, but like to be able to put all of that together with so many different voices, so many different energies, that's the true definition of chemistry, and like just being together and really perfecting the sound. And I think that Saturation 2 just shows the height of that sound and what they can do together. And it was fun going through these albums again as I put this video together, because when I went to this album, it really brought me back to 5-6 years ago of experiencing this group and all that they did. So I'm gonna end it there. This was my ranking of Brockhampton's albums. Tell me guys what you thought in the comments. You agree, you disagree? Drop your list in there and let's discuss it. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to another week of Jason's Take. Got more videos coming for you guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Jason. This has been my take, and I'll see you next time.